Well, there's been many big things happening in the sports world this week. The XFL announced their first 8 teams, the cities they'll play in, and their names and logos. Seattle's team was named the Dragons, kind of going with the sea dragon thing, how to train your dragon. It's okay, it's not amazing, but the colors are not any better. And their head coach will be former Seahawks quarterback Jim Zorn. It was reported that the Dragons had a number of scout teams visiting the Hawks practice sessions, watching the quarterback battles for potential signees. Maybe Paxton Lynch or Geno Smith may be taking center for the Dragons this coming February. And now for the Seahawks news. The Hawks soared over the Chargers in a 23-15 victory. Seattle played its starters for most of the first half, while the Chargers did not. The run game is what won the game for Seattle, where they racked up 185 yards. Both CJ Preseason and Rashad Penny had awesome games. Preseason was the leading ball carrier, surprisingly, with 5 rushes for 52 yards and a rushing touchdown. He also recorded 1 reception for 15 yards. His performance in this last game, it threw Seattle's whole running back lineup into a big jumble, so who knows who's making the roster, so we'll see. We'll see what happens in Game 4. Rashad Penny looked a little bit better than his previous outings, with 5 rushes for 22 yards and a rushing touchdown. And rookie running back Travis Homer showed some good things as well. As for the receiving game, rookie wide receiver John Ursula looked outstanding. With 2 receptions for 52 yards, he showed that he excels playing in the slot, similar to Doug Baldwin. Ursula is not quite the level of Baldwin yet, but he can fill in the void with his slippery and juking play style. Fellow rookie Gary Jennings was targeted 3 times in the game, and only came up with 1 of them. One of them was a pass interference call on the defense, so that kind of helped. But besides that, he was not really helping, which is kind of disappointing. He was a 4th round draft pick. Jennings hasn't shown that he can be that go-to guy in the clutch. Wide receiver David Moore fractured his arm in practice, and he'll probably be out for some time. And wide receiver Amara Darboh was placed on waivers. This could give Jennings the opportunity to get on the roster, but he still needs to show that he's worth the roster spot. He's still got 1 preseason game left, so we'll see what happens. Veteran receiver Jerron Brown, in my opinion, has locked down the number 2 spot, with his outstanding play in the last 3 games. He was rarely targeted last year, and came up with most of them. Just think, with more targets, he can put up more touchdowns and more yardage and get Seattle to possibly a Super Bowl. And of course, I don't have to tell you about Tyler Lockett, the best wide receiver on this team. He's the number 1. Rookie receiver DK Metcalf had surgery on his knee and was back at practice the next day. I think there's still a chance for Metcalf to play in the final preseason game, but I think Carroll will wait until week 1. I think it's funny that out of the 3 receivers drafted this year, that Ursula was the star. With Jennings not performing well, and with Metcalf's knee injury, that will possibly put Ursula at the number 3 spot. Tight end Jacob Hollister showed why Seattle traded for him this past offseason. He caught 3 passes in the game last night. He did drop 1, but besides that, he was phenomenal. Hollister is quick as a receiver, has hands like Odell Beckham Jr. Well, not quite, but he's still good. And with Hollister on the roster, Seattle will not need to keep a fullback or extra tight end. I'm confident he will be on the final roster in 2019. Moving to the defensive side of the ball, we're going to talk about slot corners. The slot corner position is still wide open after Seattle's last preseason game, with Jamar Taylor, Ugo Amadi, and Kalen Reed all in close competition. It looks like Pete Carroll likes Amadi, but he's still young and he makes mistakes. After the Minnesota game, it looked like Taylor had the position locked up, but after this last game, I'm not sure anymore. Kalen Reed looked good playing there, but he got injured and he was put on injury reserve. A returning corner, Akeem King, who Seattle signed him to play that position, has not done anything. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle went out and traded for someone before the start of week 1. Seattle's starting linebacking trio could be the best in the NFL. Pro Bowler linebacker Bobby Wagner anchoring it down, and then KJ Wright and Michael Kendricks. Over the past 2 preseason games, Wright and Kendricks have shown that they can stop the run, make plays in the backfield, and also pass rush. Michael Kendricks making a lot of those plays. Pretty sure in 2019 that they'll use Kendricks for a lot of pass rushing roles. Linebacker Austin Kalitra has been balling out this preseason. He's more alert this season by being able to read opposing offenses, not just running for his life. Seattle's starting defensive line has been able to stop the run game over the past 2 games, something they were unable to do in week 1. With young guys coming up in Jamie Meter and Brian Monet. Both have had impressive preseasons so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if they made the final roster, as a starter or a rotational player. I like what they both have done, and I think they should be on the final roster. An update on defensive tackle Naz Jones. He was placed on injury reserve on Tuesday, which is not good. Like, maybe Seattle's trying to give him another chance, so they put him there so they'll have him later down the road and they'll cut someone when he's ready to come back, but that doesn't look good for him. As far as pass rush, we haven't seen anything from the defensive end section thus far. We may see veteran pass rusher Ziggy Ansah in this final preseason game. If he plays, it'll probably be only one series or two. Rookie LJ Collier returned to practice this week, and he could play in this final preseason game as well, but it's more likely he'll play in week 1. Which players would you like to see Seattle keep on their final 53-man roster? Leave your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed this movie, be sure to give it a like because I really appreciate it. And please, if you have any movie ideas for future movies, that would really help me as well because I need ideas or my channel's going to go downhill quick. Stay tuned to see my movie that I'm posting Friday, talking about Seattle's 53-man roster cuts and who may stay and who will go. And finally, subscribe to get more awesome content and hit the notification bell to get notified. Thanks.